the way it works in when you're on campus of ESPN, particularly now with them having the rights and showing the UFC and having this exclusiveness, is Errol and I are on set. So the moment that Cain gets done with Ngannou, interview, boom, back to Bristol, which happens to be Errol and I, and we're on. Immediately. Not a full minute. No way was it a minute. More like 20 seconds. And I offer you this because there's a relevance, which is I went on SportsCenter and I did a fantastic job, I must say. I say that Cain comes out. I don't like Cain's game plan. They're trying to tie this into Ngannou's uppercut. Other people are trying to tie it into Cain's buckled knee. I saw something else completely. I saw Cain, a guy who hadn't been in the ring for almost 1,000 days, come out there and not know how to engage, which is a very real thing. He was looking to start a fight. Cain was looking to start a fist fight. He just didn't know how. He hadn't been in there in a long time. And he just didn't know, how do I get from point A to point B? He had two options as I saw it. He could use his boxing, starting with the jab, to start to find out where the bigger and slower Ngannou was. Start to follow that up with some hands. Or he could change elevation and blast him with a shot. Is a skill that Cain Velasquez has, but so many people forget he has it because he doesn't show it off very often. But those are his two options. Not rocket science and not completely indifferent from everybody else that fought that night or everybody else in the history of fighting. But that is how I saw it. I'm right. I am right, particularly with the vision of hindsight, because option 3, which is the only other option he had, which is not one of the options I put on the table, was to come out and start a fist fight with kicks. That was a terrible idea. I do not say that to kick Cain. Cain is incredible. Cain has had an incredible career. Cain is tougher than hell, and Cain can handle my criticism. I tell you that because I would not kick a guy when he's down, and I'm not doing that to Cain. But to come out and start a fist fight with kicks when it is the least of his great weapons. In any sporting event, you show up with your plan A, your number one offense. Any sport, I don't care if it's basketball, football, hockey, I don't care what we're talking about here. You bring plan A to the table. When plan A gets stuffed, you go to plan B. When plan B gets stuffed, you go to plan C, of which most guys don't even have. In fairness, they don't even have it. Cain came out with plan C right off the bat. He was throwing kicks as a way to engage. There has been one fighter in the history of the sport to be successful by starting a fist fight with a kick, and his name is John Jones. And a lot of it is because he has an incredible length. And he can come across the ring when the other guy's fast and fresh and just as unpredictable as him and start the action with a kick. He can do it from a range that other people can't. Cain's kicks, not only were they a bad idea, and I'm offering to you that I understand why he did it. He was just trying to start a fight. He hadn't been in there in a while. The one thing that happened, you guys always hear about ring rust. Ring rust, for the most part, isn't real. But the speed very much is. The speed that a live fight happens in is something that with an absence of doing it, your eyes play tricks on you. I've only gone through this one time, and a lot of this is a self-reflection. But I've seen other guys do it. I was just able to relate. And I could see what was going on with Cain. It was a different speed. The lights, the camera, the action, the opponent in front of you. Here's the moment. There's just a different feeling. And when you have that level of anticipation, and you're a guy like Cain that wants to get it on right now, he was trying to start a fight. He just went about it the wrong way. He should have either punched his way in, or he should have changed elevation. That's relevant, changing of elevation to protect himself, and then rushed him. Gone for the shot, gone for the wrestling, gone for the takedown. He tried to start a fight with kicks. Not only were they sloppy, not only were they not set up, not only did they repeatedly miss, which I thought would have triggered him to realize this is not a good idea. When he threw the first sloppy, slow, and misplaced kick, I thought that would have triggered him to not throw the second slow, sloppy, and misplaced kick. Instead, it warranted in his mind to go ahead and throw a third sloppy, slow, and misplaced kick. when he finally got in close, don't forget what he's now getting close to. He's getting close to a guy who's burned no energy, and just watch his opponent throw 3 air balls. So Ngannou throws an uppercut, puts Cain down, knocks him out, ends the night. Okay, fine. It's about the only damn way you can deal with Cain Velasquez. From the footage I've seen through his very long career that has led him to world championships and will lead him to a spot in the Hall of Fame, the only way that I have ever seen anybody be able to deal with Cain Velasquez is to knock his ass out. I've never seen anybody out-position him. Never seen anybody out-submission him. I've never seen anybody out-point him or out-strike him or out-condition him. I mean, he's damn near invincible. If you go back and look at his career as a body of work, it is flat impressive, period. But he is a human being. If he can hit his snooze button, he will go to sleep. Okay, great. So I go on SportsCenter, and I said what I just said. Stand by it. Good analysis by me. Probably why I have the job. But then I get a phone call. I get a phone call from Lad. Now, you guys know Lad. Lad is an ongoing character on this show. It is Joel's son, the Godfather. For you loyal listeners, of which there are plenty, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But in case somebody new tuned in today, I thought I would set the stage for who Lad is. So he calls me up. He says, Chael, great job on SportsCenter. I said, well, thank you, Lad. I appreciate you watching. He goes, too bad you didn't get anything right. I said, excuse me? He said, Ngannou didn't knock him out with an uppercut. Oh, guys, I need to add this. Very relevant to the story. At the same time that Ngannou hits Cain with an uppercut and knocks him clean out, Dominic Cruz, who was on the microphone and cage side, says his knee just went out. I'm not a doctor, and I don't pretend to be. I'm not a lawyer, but I do pretend to be a lawyer. I don't even pretend to be a doctor with you guys, right? However, Dominic Cruz just went through 3 knee surgeries. So for Dominic Cruz to see something and instantly say his knee went out carries a lot of weight with me to lean to the favor of, he's right. His knee probably just went out. If there's any expert who's got an incredible seat and knows all about knee injuries and cage fight, it's Dominic Cruz. So immediately after, there was a narrative that started. Team Cain is saying, hey, his knee buckled. That's what happened in the fight, his knee buckled. Team Francis is saying, we hit you with an uppercut and put you out. Chael is coming to you and telling you that Francis knocked out Cain with an uppercut because of Cain's poor game plan of leading with kicks. Subsequent argument, subsequent analysis. Oh, by the way, something happened to his knee. Lad calls me. He says, yeah, too bad you didn't get anything right. I said, Lad, what do you mean? He said, Chael, there wasn't a punch landed in that fight. So, Lad, what are you saying to me? Ngannou hit him with an uppercut, knocked him out. He said, Chael, go rewatch it. Ngannou's uppercut never touches him. There was not a punch landed from either guy in that fight. I said, Lad, I've watched that fight 3 times now. I watched it live, and I did a replay twice, of which for the replay on SportsCenter, we played the fight in its entirety, which is the first time in the history of SportsCenter that I can recall an entire game being played in its entirety as the highlight. So, Lad, I've seen it 3 times. Are you sure about this? There's not even a dialogue out there, Lad, aside from this phone call I'm getting right now, that says that Ngannou did not make contact with Cain subsequent to the knee. He goes, Chael. And don't forget, for you guys, Lad has autism. So Lad says to me, he goes, Chael, I have autism. I barely even know how to lie. This is his words to... So, that's pretty damn funny, right? I go, okay, Lad, I will give that to you, but are you sure? I saw the same thing you saw. You're saying you saw it 5 times. I saw it 3 times. Are you sure? So I went back and I rewatched it for a 4th time. I think Lad got this one. Now, I want to break this down for any of you whose eyes also play tricks on you, much like mine. Yes, Ngannou threw the uppercut, and yes, he did touch Cain. I do not make believe that this was an air ball or a popcorn punch or that it didn't happen. But if you do watch it, and in fairness to Lad's point, the uppercut turned into a push. He threw the uppercut, but then it did like this push motion, not a punch motion. So I will tell you guys now, I don't have a full analysis for you to run this one back and in some way take credit away from Ngannou, who deserves incredible credit, by the way. I don't attempt to run that back, but I wonder if your guys' eyes might have played the same tricks on you as mine played on me. Because I sure as hell, and I didn't disagree with the knee. Perhaps the knee went out at the same time. Perhaps the knee went out and then the uppercut landed. But what my eyes told me, it's like watching a magic act, I guess. I guess there was a sleight of hand here, but when I went back and I watched that super slow because of the phone call I got from a kid who swears he's not very good at lying, I saw the push. I saw a punch throw that did turn into a push. And Cain came out and said that his knee popped. I don't know what to make of that. I would love to give you guys an update on Cain, but I don't have one. Dominic said that his knee went out. Cain then came out very quickly and at the post-fight press conference, could have been a bigger gentleman, by the way, and said it popped. I heard a pop. I don't know what pop means. I don't know if that means that when he got up and did his post-fight interview and walked himself, that it popped back in, which I'm hoping. I'm very much hoping there was nothing torn. But nothing's really been spoken of that injury. Also, if you guys haven't been paying attention as of late, and it's roughly the last 12 months, but the UFC, by habit, would always interview both guys involved in a main event or involved in a title fight. They have stopped doing that by interviewing the person that came in second if a stoppage takes place. And the reason for doing that is they thought, we're getting some guys who are saying some stuff that's a little wacky, that the guys themselves are wishing they hadn't said but don't fully remember saying, because they just suffered either a TKO or a knockout. So they stopped interviewing him. In this case, they did interview Cain. So whatever it was that they saw, they believe Cain was of stable mind to conduct an interview after what was called a 26-second knockout, which would lead me by evidence to also believe that the UFC and the decision makers who were there did not think that there was this brutal punch landed that I did. I watched it. I think you guys are probably like me. Sure, he was knocked out with an uppercut. No, I think Lad got this one. I think it was the knee in conjunction with the punch being thrown, with an overlapping storyline of visually how it appeared. Whether our eyes played tricks on us or not, a punch was thrown, and the big guy went down and got swarmed. Fight needed to be stopped. Right call. I thought I would just give you that recap. A couple other thoughts on this, though. First off, to get Cain back in there with this layoff was a story that was never told, and I can't tell it for you guys now. I don't know. When Cain was absent, I believe we all concluded that Cain was hurt, because a big part of Cain's career has been that Cain is often hurt. So I think when we just didn't see him, we just led to the conclusion, whether it was UFC 200 or some subsequent training, that Cain Velasquez was hurt. Well, Cain came out during his fight week media obligations, didn't tell the story with great clarity, but did make it clear that no, he was not hurt. He was in a contract dispute. The reason I bring you up is I'd like to give Cain a little bit of credit. How many guys, particularly top guys, have we ever seen in a contract dispute that don't take that to the media and the public and turn the gun and try to put down the promotion and say the promotion's not treatment, be total dicks in the media about it, try to embarrass their employer and their boss? In this regard, we had a guy who had a dispute of whatever it was, I think we all instantly assume it was financial, but there's many things that go into a contract, and I really don't know. But how pleasant that we saw a top guy, a main event guy, handle his business quietly and professionally. And it would also appear, by the evidence of him being in there as recently as Sunday in a main event spot, that he got his way. Perhaps there's a lesson here, isn't there? If you have some kind of a dispute, or you have something you would like to talk out, perhaps you should follow Cain and do it appropriately and professionally and, most importantly, privately. Because it would appear that Cain got his needs and his concerns to be listened to. I would offer you that.